Today, I'm going to be discussing nonverbal communication. What is nonverbal communication? It is defined as the process of using wordless messages to generate meaning. The use of nonverbal communication can create a whole new meaning to a message. Sometimes, it takes nonverbal communication to relay a message in order to communicate it in a more understanding way. Why is it important? The use of nonverbal communication can clarify even the toughest messages to understand. When speaking, it makes a difference to see them and understand that the way that they are feeling based not only on their words, but through their gestures, expressions, and other characteristics that fit into the nonverbal communication category. Nonverbal cues can sometimes be more meaningful than the words themselves. However, when put together, a message can seem more complete. What are some nonverbal codes? Nonverbal codes, according to the Human Communication Textbook, are codes of communication consisting of symbols that are not words. These codes may include bodily movement, facial expressions, bodily appearance, the use of space, the use of time, touch, or vocal cues. What do these codes illustrate? In different situations, any number of codes may be used to communicate the same thing. For example, showing anger. When a person is angry or irritated, they may raise their voice in order to speak loudly, remain silent, glare, or frown. They may even hide their anger by smiling to conceal how they truly feel. Nonverbal codes can get confusing, but codes may be used universally to mean and represent the same thing or the exact opposite. It all depends on the situation and the way that the individual chooses to use their nonverbal cues. The forms of nonverbal communication are bodily movement and facial expressions. This involves the study of bodily movement. Interpreting the movement of nonverbal communication through bodily movement may be assessing how the person normally acts. Knowing the person you are reading helps assure proper comprehension of their gestures, movements, and expressions. Here is an example of some bodily movement and facial expressions. We can tell by the way that she looks, her face, she seems very angry. She has her arms crossed and she's closing off her body because she is unwelcoming your advances to talk to her or try to have a conversation with her. Another form of nonverbal communication is space. It involves the concept of proxemics, meaning the study of space and distance. There are different forms of space used for different times, places, and situations that communication takes place. Intimate, personal, social, and public distances make up the concept of space. Intimate distances are those of 18 inches and used by those who are closest to you. Personal distances are often 18 inches to 4 feet. This distance is common for casual conversation. Social distances range from 4 feet to 12 feet and are often used in less personal situations, such as those in the workplace. Public distances exceed 12 feet and are often used for situations involving public speaking or lecturing. This distance is used to reach a mass number of individuals at a non-intimate level. Another form of nonverbal cues includes touching. This also includes tactile communication, which is the use of touch within communication. As with any form of nonverbal cue, there is a right and wrong situation for touching. With family members who you are close to, you may hug or hold their hand when trying to relay a message to them. In the workplace, however, people are often clear of tactile communication unless paired with business-like gestures such as a handshake. How may difficulties interpreting nonverbal communication be resolved? Consider all of the variables in each communication setting. Consider all of the available verbal and nonverbal cues. Use descriptive feedback to minimize misunderstandings. Overall, pay attention to whom you are communicating with and what the situation involves. If you are aware of factors present in the situation, nonverbal cues tied into nonverbal communication will become clear and easier to understand. What is nonverbal communication all about? Although verbal communication may be easier to understand, nonverbal communication can emphasize a point and clarify in areas that Verbal communication just cannot. Nonverbal communication is essential to understanding not only a message, but more importantly, the feeling behind that message. Body language and movement, touch, space, and proximity, and overall appearance may influence the conveying of a message. Therefore, nonverbal communication is an essential part of communication as a whole.